today with the Creators Pill podcast. And today I'm sitting down with my good friend and mentor, David. Can you introduce yourself to the people out there, David?
For sure, for sure. What's going on, guys? As you mentioned, my name is David, and man, I'm actually from a small town in Arkansas, and it's quite wild because I've always had these big visions, big ambition, um, very competitive throughout school, playing sports and everything. But after high school, I graduated. I truly didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I graduated, and I had this mindset. I was watching motivational videos during that time already, but being from a small town and what people do, especially at that age. It was pretty tough. And so I got mixed up with the wrong people, but at the same time, I had this mindset. So I was like halfway in, halfway out. I was, Monday through Friday, I would, grind, hit the gym and everything. Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going out, you know what I mean? And so it was like halfway in, halfway out. But just being on this journey and opening my eyes to what life really is and how it is that we can really create our life. I've just been committed to this journey for, I would say now, 3.5 years being on this journey, right? And so I just see myself doing a lot of things within the community that we have right now, whether it's building orphanages, homeless shelters, schools around the world, or really just providing education to individuals that want more but don't have the ability or understand where to even begin. You know what I mean? Especially in today's age, man, because everything's going digitally, but then we also know there's scammers out there and people trying to, whether it's recruit people to join pyramid scheme or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Nah, bro, we just really want to, I would say, provide education for a lot of individuals and see, what it is that we can create together because we're all Christ.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that because I feel like I was in the same position before I met you, and you really opened up my eyes to to this whole new world of just mindset.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that. And I would just like to start off this interview. Obviously, you have an amazing story, David, because life is really a journey, and I feel like you've had a lot of experiences, and there's so much opportunity out there. And I feel like you've taken advantage of all the opportunities that not a lot of people take advantage of. They just kind of let them sit there, and they're just out there.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, at an early age, man, I went through something that really caused a lot of traumatic background. And so I was like 14, 15 years old when it first happened, where I really started asking myself like, why me? And that's a super young age to really be experiencing that. My brother was probably like 8 years young. My sister was two. And so just going through that, it took me time to really understand it. But these experiences that we go through every single day, or whether it's in a month or a year, however you want to look at it, we gain these experiences. And as you're getting these experiences, you can look back and you can say, okay, I see how this affected where I am today, or that added up to get me to this place where I am now, and this to here. And it's like a puzzle piece. But you can't, you can't look at the overall picture and think like, okay, hey, I'm gonna just go, but it's really just this present now, right now that we're in right now is that's creating that future reality. So what I do now and having this understanding is that yes, I've had a past and I know where I'm going. I can't let the past affect me or like really, determine who I am, dictate who I am. But also can't get too caught up in the future because I miss like this next step right now. And so just these experiences, just understanding what it can create and what it causes. I'm understanding that if I can get more experiences now, it gives me more wisdom, more understanding, more skill set training, more mindset training, more understanding in any perspective that you can think of. And so, boom, you just gain the experiences right now, and I just know like gaining these experiences is what's going to eventually add up to the future, right? So I would say that that's why. I just took action, man. I took action. I said, you know what? I don't know how exactly it's going to happen. I already know, and I have this desire for the future of what it's going to look like. And that's something that just doesn't come to us like that. It's planted over these experiences, and then God is always um, watering that seed as well, right? And so I don't take it lightly. And so if I know that these experiences are going to add up to that overall future, I don't know how it's going to happen, like the experiences that are to come, right? But I know if I just have this spiritual awareness and understand, okay, maybe I should do this and that, and I don't know how, but overall, it's going to build me up into that person to be receptive or be aligned with that, you know what I mean? With what it is that I deserve materialistically.
A lot of people are the ones watching the grass grow when really they should be the grass growing. You see, the grass may not grow at the fastest pace, but it's growing, right? It's just happening and it's happening, but everybody's just watching it grow. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And definitely, bro, I think just being in the moment and taking in all the experiences, meeting all these people, just living life.
I definitely did get caught up with a lot of things like, whether it's like grind all the time and not letting myself live because I always had this future inside of my head, but I'm like missing the things that's, going on right now, bro. But yeah, that's definitely something that we all need to take into consideration or shoot, we'll miss that next step for sure.
Spiritual, I guess, would you call it a spiritual journey at the moment? Or how would you define that?
Yeah, spiritual journey for sure.
Okay. So have you always been like a spiritual person even before now, or are you really now just kind of doubling down on it?
Mm-hmm. Uh, Man, there's definitely seasons in life, right? And unless we learn from those seasons, then it's gonna keep happening to us repeatedly. And the way it happens to us repeatedly isn't the same way it was before. But if you gain the wisdom and the understanding of what happened in the past to keep moving forward and applying it in the next time that something like this happens, then you move on and you unlock another level and you're pretty much dying to yourself. You're killing, I mean, that's really what it is. You're killing your old version. I see it happening just about every month, to be honest, man, where I'm just growing, doing my morning routine every single day, being present and allowing God to guide me. But I look back a month from today and I'm like, man, I don't even recognize that guy. So I'm constantly just dying to myself, right? Dying to the person that I used to be. And so I remember it was back in 2020. I grew up Catholic, okay, literally born into the religion. I did everything from my confirmation, first communion, getting baptized, everything, right? But it was kind of more of I was just checking off a list. It wasn't a good intimate relationship with God, with Christ. And so it was back in 2020 when I had moved out for the first time uh, from my hometown, and I was just tired of everything, bro. That was the first time that I said, enough is enough. I'm tired of hanging out with these guys. I'm tired of having those same conversations or smoking weed every single day, whatever it was, right? And I just made that decision, and because God saw that decision, I made that commitment to take that, create a new version of myself. And so when you create a new version of yourself, now you're thinking differently. Now you're moving differently. Now you're acting differently, right? And so now it's like you're thinking on this frequency, right, that you weren't thinking of before. And as you keep evolving, right, it's like you find more paths, more understanding that there's more life out there instead of what we're all kind of programmed or set in a box to think about, right? And so just doing that in itself, man, I would say like, okay, I stepped back from the Catholic religion and I just started dabbling into different things. And then from there, as I'm spending more alone time with myself, I'm thinking of my thoughts. Like I'll have a thought, but then I'll think on that thought. And it's like I have a third or a second person in there type thing. Like this is me right here, but there's a second person in here that's connected to the infinite and that's always guiding me, And so I didn't always have that awareness. It was till like, till I turned, yeah, 20, 21 years young that I started understanding like, yo, man, like, what is this thing inside of me? Or what am I truly capable of doing as a spiritual being? We're physical, we're physical beings, right? No, we're in a physical body, but we're spiritual beings. And so just understanding that right there and having that awareness, I'm like, what is a spiritual being? You know, and so I started asking myself, reading these books, looking at YouTube videos, and going into the rabbit hole, looking behind the curtain. Bro, yeah, it's real. And so I just, decided to take that peek, and now it's like it's transformed me, man, to say like, or to even start thinking a bit differently, you know?
Definitely. I know this is a very it's a noisy world. There's so many distractions in this world,
Mhm.
and I truly believe religion or just some type of spirituality within yourself will always bring you clarity because it brings you back to yourself. And a lot of that goes into mindset, and that's one of the biggest things getting going on journey as a creator, as an entrepreneur. I feel like having some type of spiritual awareness is somewhat necessary. How would you, what would you recommend for somebody who doesn't have that spiritual awareness yet to be able to get into that? What resources do they have to
Yeah,
be introduced?
yeah, yeah. Yeah. As cliche or corny as it sounds, spend alone time, man. That's it. You do that right there, you're gonna start thinking, man. You're no longer a robot to this society. You're no longer in this routine like system, right? To where you're just doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts. When you really take a day or a few days, man, maybe the weekend, and you're like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna plan something. I'm gonna just chill. I'm gonna be home. I'm gonna go out on a walk. I'm gonna go fishing, whatever it is, and you're with your thoughts. You'll start gaining some perspective, some imagination, some intuition, some will, some memory, right? And these six higher faculties that we have internally, you won't be able to, have the awareness to see what it truly means if you're constantly just tied up to this physical realm, right? And so I would say that right there, just spending alone time, man. You spend alone time, you'll start actually like putting thoughts towards your thoughts. You put thought towards your thoughts, right? And you doing that, you're amplifying it, and you're saying, man, bro, okay, this happened to me, but I did this to cause that happening. You know what? If I did that to cause that, and that's why I'm here. If I'm here, then and I caused that, I can also rewire that and cause something different and create something different, right? Because at the end of the day, it was actually me. It wasn't something someone else, right? Or even just reflecting, right? You're reflecting. This is how this year went, or this is how this week went. I didn't get to hit the gym. I didn't do this. Why? Because I didn't actually block it in my schedule, or I didn't journal, and that's why I feel so overwhelmed. Oh, you know what? Okay, this week I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do it at this time, and I'm gonna make sure I go to sleep at this, bro. Just doing that, you start leading your life. You start leading your life. You start moving differently, and that's when things really start to change.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. It's a lot of compounding, right? It's a compound effect. Like you start small and then you just snowball up and
Yeah.
eventually it just becomes your reality.
Mhm.
And I think nobody should just think all this is an overnight thing. And I would just like to let everybody out there know, don't be discouraged if you're not seeing immediate results. You gotta understand that it's a process, and you just gotta let everything compound and be very conscious. I feel a lot of people these days are somewhat unconscious. They're just very autopilot. They're kind of just bots to the world. But you really got to sit down and, like you said, just one-on-one time with yourself. Like really think, who are you as a person? What decisions are you making on a daily basis? I mean, God gives us a choice every day, and we have a decision to make. And whether it's right or wrong for you, I don't know, but everybody knows what is right for them internally, whether they know it or not. They know what is right.
Hmm. And you're a big testimony of it as well, bro. Like from sleeping on couches, being homeless, and making that conscious decision that even though you didn't have it figured out, I'm gonna move to a different state. You made that decision, and boom, bro. Our self-image keeps evolving, man, and that's what we attract into our life overall.
I agree. The process, y'all.
The process.
So we touched on the spiritual subject, the spiritual side of things. I want to go into the leadership side of entrepreneurship and personally for you as a person, because, well, let's start on this. You created a group called One Day, and I know One Day has very valuable meaning to you. And so, can we start off by what is One Day for the people that don't know what One Day is to you?
One day. One day was a model for me when I was really, really going through it. So I spoke at the beginning about when I was 15 years young. I was hitting the gym every single day after seeing my parents abusing one another for years at 15 already. And then having my brother, my sister, then my dad getting deported. I was lonely. I was low key running away from this feeling inside of me, but I was doing it in a actually good way. I would wake up 5 a.m., hit the gym, go to school right after that. I was a sophomore then that time, right? Go to school, and right after school, go to football, soccer practice, and then after football, soccer practice, be like, I don't know, 6 p.m. Go home, eat a little. I'd sit there, start hearing my parents, yelling at each other, screaming at each other. And so that's when I had to go back to the gym. And as I'm doing this, I'm gaining like this resiliency within me. I'm building my character up for sure. And then I started listening to motivational videos. I heard this one motivational video of this guy that was going through the same thing that I was going through. His name was Ray Lewis, and number 52 within the Baltimore Ravens, ex football player, right? Professional football player. And so he told his story as well, man. And as I'm listening to all these people, bro, I start getting this vision. I start telling myself, like, man, if these people are making me feel this way, why can't I go out there and make other people feel the same way, right? And so, yeah, you know what? I started developing myself. So, watched that video, came upon that video. He told his story and he went through the same thing that I went through, right? Seeing his moms get abused at a very young age. But at that age, he actually told his mom, Mama, one day I'm gonna get you out of the trenches. One day, I'm gonna give you the life that you truly deserve. One day. And so I'm 15, man. I'm on a treadmill that day. I had a hoodie over my head. I got tears coming down my eyes, bro. And I just started telling myself, one day, bro. One day. I don't know how. I didn't start this entrepreneurial journey till I was 20, right? So it's like from here till then, I've only been building myself up. Those 4 years, or yeah, 4 years or 5 years that when it happened, and I saw that video, and when I started my entrepreneurial journey, it was just gaining experiences, right? But I was building myself up. I was seeing what's actually out there, right? Testing things out. And so I finally turned 18 after I saw that video, and I ended up getting it tattooed on me, right? I got it tattooed on me because I wanted to see it every single day. I wanted to make sure that, okay, one day it's gonna make it happen. Day one started when I saw that video, right? When I made the decision that I'm gonna go all in and I'm gonna at least make an effort to put one foot in front of the other, right? But one day, now it's one day because I know one day as a community, as a group, us coming together, one day we're going to be riding private jets. One day we're going to be able to go to each one of our parents' houses and just give, man, give as a community. One day we'll have the orphanages, homeless shelters, and schools around the world in every country, man. One day. And so, yeah, bro, I'm very passionate about what we're doing and the movement that we're creating, or that has been created, right? And yeah, just one day.
I love that, David. And everybody hearing this, I know they're gonna love the meaning of that, of what One Day is. I think they're gonna see it in a different perspective, in a different light. And definitely, David, you're a beacon of inspiration to a lot of people out there. I know the group you created, and with leadership, I know I was there from the beginning of that group, not the very beginning, but a good part of it. And
For sure.
I've seen how much it's grown
Yeah.
since then, David. And it's actually amazing, bro. I remember being on the Zoom calls where it was just like 5 people, maybe 7 people, to now you're filling Zoom call rooms. It's crazy. You're filling not just virtual rooms, you're filling rooms, physical rooms of people, speaking to people, telling your story, telling your journey to where you are today. And it's an amazing journey, David. How does somebody get to that point? Is it just commitment to saying, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be this type of leader? Is it just
hmm
a natural thing that happens being that type of leader? Is it just something that happens naturally because you are so radiant? What's the process for you
Yeah.
personally?
Yeah. We're constantly evolving, right? And so I'm not the person that I am today, or if it wasn't for the past, right?
Yeah,
And I wouldn't be able to think the way I'm thinking if I didn't go through the stuff that I went through. And so we want, but are we willing to do? Are we willing to go through the process and still show up every single day? Are we willing to shoot? I was seeing my pops, bro, slamming dishes on the ground, man, and pulling my mom's across the room by her hair, bro. Like, and I was still waking up the next day and I'm like, I'm gonna hit the gym and I'm gonna go crazy. And even throughout this journey, I would, freaking build this community up, watch it fall to the ground and start over again, bro. But every time I just kept getting up after I fell down, it's like now I gained that experience. I gained it. I gained that experience. I gained that wisdom. And now, okay, if I'm this person right now and I gain another experience, what's that experience gonna create of me? Or how am I gonna think now, right? And so it's just a constant state of evolving because even now, like, yes, I see this vision and I see how it's formed up, but I still don't see it to where like it's physically manifested. You know what I mean? And so as we're taking these steps forward and as we're gaining these experiences and developing ourselves, God is always guiding us. He's always providing because we've already asked, and it is given. Knock, and you shall find, right? And so that's all I'm doing, right? And so we can all do it as well. There's the 99% of the society, and there's that 1% that's saying, you know what, I'm gonna go out and create my path. I'm not gonna follow what, the traditional system says. What if? Like now you start asking yourself, like, what if? Man, yeah, let's do it.
definitely. Y'all heard it. You just gotta get up and you gotta do. You gotta take risks. You gotta really experiment and experience. David, I asked a long time ago. I believe we met on June 2nd of 2023,
For sure.
and this was at a Airbnb. I met a whole team of like-minded individuals, entrepreneurs from all over the state, and me and Rob, Rob, had this conversation. It was the first interview I ever did. It was more of a practice run. I was telling them I want to do these interviews. I want to put high value individuals out there. I just want people to hear the stories of people like you, David, people like Sam, people like Rob, just entrepreneurs and creators. I want to put people like y'all in the forefront of this to inspire others, to really show people that this is possible, that to show people that this is not some overnight thing, that this is a process of experiences that you have to experience. It's not something that's just going to come to you like that off one thing. It's a process, it's a compounding of everything, the mindset, everything. So I want to ask you this. One question I asked Rob in that practice interview was, I know you've had a somewhat, let's say, come up, rougher childhood, but would you say being a leader, being a boss is something you're born into, you're born as this, or is it something you become? This is what I asked Rob, and I would like, what's your take on that?
No one's born as that person, for sure. Uh, you're the path has been made. When you're brought into this world, when we were brought into this world, God already knows what He wants to do. But the beauty of this world is that we also have this the ability to choose. We have the ability to decide, And so we're going about this world. You may be in let's say junior high, eighth grade, seventh grade, and now you're getting involved with different people. and you get deep into it when the path was already made, like God had this prepared for you, but you made the decision to take that path. Boom. Maybe later down the road you get that awakening, or maybe you just keep going in further. Or let's say you've played sports throughout your whole, high school career, school career, right? And you finally graduate, and now you start, just asking yourself, man, what am I gonna do? But then your boys are still partying, they're still, you know what I mean? And you'll get drawn into that. And so there's no saying like where exactly you start to change and when you make that decision. That's obviously upon that individual. But we all have the ability, right? And so once I made that decision, that's when I started attracting the books, because I started putting my mind to personal development and the people and the audios and everything, right? And so when you put your attention on that thing, you're going to attract the forces to create you into that person, right? And so there's this exercise that I personally did. I think, yeah, this was back in 2021. I did this exercise, and it was by Bob Proctor. He gave me this exercise, and he said, "Okay, to build up our self-image, we must have five individuals in our life that you personally look up to." Okay, and I wrote these five individuals down, people that I look up to, and then I broke these five people down. What characteristics do they have that draws you to them? Boom, I wrote the characteristics down besides them. And then little by little, I would take one person, then the next, and then the next, one by one, and I would try to find ways to practice to gain that characteristic. Okay. And so as I'm just looking at these individuals, I find different people and I embody how they move. At the end of the day, I'm my own being, right? I'll add that spring on top of who David is. Right, and become a legend. But the only way I was able to do that is to look up to people, follow individuals, be a student first, and then as you've been a student for so long, and as you followed someone for so long, now eventually you'll have that confidence, you'll have that power, you'll understand leadership a bit more to now lead other people and help them do the same thing.
Definitely. I think that's some great advice, especially for the youth out there, what you just said, writing out people you look up to, because in today's society, a lot of youth they're looking up to feel like the wrong people. Like, they may be successful individuals, like music artists, but the message they're spreading probably isn't the best, and probably isn't true most of the time. It's just uh, it's not a good message they're spreading. So I definitely, for the youth, they need to be looking up to people like you, David. People like, I know, maybe Elon Musk. People like, people that are just have a good message, that are trying to better the world, that are just trying to do good for the world, just showing up as the best versions of themselves. And a lot of the time, it does, like I said, like somebody like you, David, I look up to you. A lot of the times, it doesn't even have to be somebody as big as Jeff Bezos, as big as Elon
For sure.
Musk, as big as those people. It's the people around you. It might be your teacher, it might be your boss at work. Just it can be anybody. They don't have to be the most successful people in the world. If you see the characteristics, the character traits that exemplify leadership, that exemplify being the best version of themselves, that just better society, those are the people y'all need to be looking up to. David, for the youth, what is a message you would have to tell them?
hmm A message for the youth. I would say the quicker you can get over what other people think of you, the faster you'll be able to go out and create. You can tell someone else your vision, you can tell someone else what you want to do, but at the end of the day, when you speak to someone, okay, they're not gonna see it. They don't have your eyes, they don't have your experiences, and so they'll tell you what they feel about their flaws and what they've gone through, and maybe have you back down from it, right? And so It took me a minute, I'm not gonna lie, but once I stepped into that, man, that's when I just started creating.
Definitely. Well, thank you, David.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Probably gonna wrap this up really quick, and I think, well, I don't think I know. You just dropped a lot of value on these people, and I definitely recommend rewatching this, y'all. Really deep diving into what David had to say. It was it was a good amount of value, y'all, and I really do appreciate your time, David. And I'm gonna go into a quick spill really quick. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for you, David, because like I said, we met on June 2nd, 2023. Before that, like you said, I was sleeping on couches, I was homeless, I wasn't in any type of mindset. I didn't even consider mindset was a thing. And we sat down that day on June 2nd, 2023. I met you. You came as just the most bright person, so welcoming. And I was just grateful to be there. And I remember sitting down with you. You taught me how to journal. You were just showing me and spitting value to me. And I just honestly, I wouldn't be sitting here today if it weren't for you and a lot of my other mentors, David. And for the youth, I'd say find yourself a mentor. Find your David. And David, I appreciate you so much, and I know you're going to do great things for the world. You're really a beacon of inspiration. You're everywhere experiencing. You're really gaining all this wisdom, and I know you're sharing it with the group you built and just everybody you can, David. And I appreciate you and everybody on here. I want y'all to appreciate David for taking time out of his day to hop on here with me. So thank you so much, man. Do you have any socials you'd like to shout out or anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, follow my Instagram at I am David Bonilla. All together, I am David Bonilla. And if you really want it, you're gonna do things like this. You're gonna tap into the books. You're gonna do the personal development. You're gonna do it all. It's so there's no saying like who you become, right? But just gaining these experiences, and as you're gaining these experiences, and as you're diving deep into to the knowledge and the information, right? You can create, be, do, and have anything that you desire.
Very true. Thank you, David.
Sure.
And for all my entrepreneurs, creators out there and beyond that, artists, whatever you are, whoever you are, however young you are, y'all take the steps now. And me and David, we're rooting for y'all. We may be
So,
distant, but we're rooting for y'all. Go explore 2024. This is another Creators Pill podcast. Run it up, y'all. Let's make the best of today. Everybody stay blessed. Peace out.
let's go!